know exactly what the number would be in order for us to win, but I know that we've got to continue to improve in order to have a chance to win, in order to have a chance to go to the tournament. I think if you get consumed with things that happen in March, you lose out on what you need to do in February. So we've got to be more cognizant of what we got to do and what we got to accomplish today.
What concerns you most about the Seton Hall team that you're actually going to play twice here in the last 5 games?
Well, their team has continually changed over the last 6 months. Hazel was hurt for a long period of time, and then last week they lost 2 players, one of which played a lot. So their team has been in a state of flux. But I think Coach Willard's done an unbelievable job with managing all of that. And I think that the guys that they're playing are very potent. Herb Pope is a very good player, can really score, leads the league in rebounding and conference play. Jeff Robinson's a really good player. Jeremy Hazel scored 2,000 points last week in his Seton Hall career. Jordan Theodore is probably one of the more underrated point guards in our league. So the guys that they do have are really good players, and they're playing with kind of a mentality, whatever we need to do to give ourselves a chance. And you can tell by their emotion and how they play that's the way they're playing, and they're doing really well. They've been shorthanded over the last week.
Can you talk about these home games that you guys have left? I mean, just how important it is to get the ones, especially here, Marquette?
Yeah, you definitely want to be able to defend your home court. Obviously, our last time we did maybe the worst job since I've been employed here of that. Lose to Wisconsin at home, lose to UConn at home, but the manner in which we lost to St. John's has been atypical in the 94 games that I've been the head coach. So we need to correct that before we even worried about a road game.
Buzz, when you went back and looked at the film from the other night, did you have any concerns with effort or anything like that? Or what in the final analysis, what was most concerning to you?
I didn't realize in postgame, Todd, that we only turned the ball over once in the front court. I didn't realize that our other 17 turnovers were in the half court. Somebody had asked me, I think CJ asked me that, and I would have said 3 or 4. And then when I watched the game, it was 1. And that was the one where Jay threw it over the top to Junior, where it just sailed out of bounds. Didn't realize we had as many turnovers as we did in the half court. Thought our transition offense, where we typically score 16, 18 points a game, was very lackluster. Part of that is they're running back to a zone, so what you see is not typically what you see in transition. But I thought that the offensive rebounds that they got were backbreakers, and I didn't think that we were committed to possession by possession shell drill the way that we have been.
That matchup zone that they had, that was unusually effective. It seemed like it doubled you on the sidelines and got the ball out of your traditional spots like the field.
Yeah, it was not a matchup the whole time. They disguised it as a matchup, but their slides out of it change, not necessarily per ATO, but they change a lot. Are they going to trap? Where are they going to trap from? Who's going to guard the high post when the ball's at the high post? Who's going to guard the short corner? That's all predicated on their slides, and we did not handle that very well. And I thought, their pressure to the matchup, I thought caused us more problems than it did. And then when I watched the tape, it wasn't their pressure. It was once we got in the half court, we didn't do a great job of moving the ball relative to side, top, side. Our paint touches were the same as what they typically are, which is good against a zone. But we didn't have good ball reversal.
What do you think are going to be the maybe 1, 2, or 3 biggest things that you guys have to do at a high level to get through this last stretch of games and kind of set yourself up going into the postseason?
Us would be 1, us would be 2, and us would be 3. And not meaning that that's a good question, but I think that's the answer. For us to have played as many single-digit games as we have played and single-possession games as we have played, in order to be able to get over the top of that, similar to what we did last year. This week last year is when we played 3 road games in a row, all in overtime, all one possession. You've got to get that turned, and I don't think you can be completely consumed with the opponent to get that turned. I think you have to be completely consumed with your own team.
You guys went on that big run at the end of last year, like 9 of 11, I think, that regular season. This year, you haven't been able to string together wins. I think since December, you haven't won more than 2 in a row. Can you put any finger on why that is, why you haven't been able to get that consistency going? Obviously, your opponents have something to do with it in the Big East.
Yeah, I think they're really hard to win. And I don't know what our record was in January here this year versus January of last year. But, you know, when we went on that run, it was in February. And it was kind of kick-started by the 3 that we played this particular week. We had played one before that we had won. But we won 3 that week, and then we won again that next week. So that's what we have to do. Why haven't we been able to string it together? Other than the fact that we haven't been able to completely be who we have to be, consecutive possessions on both ends of the floor, I don't know what the answer would be other than that, because that's the truth of it. You know, you've got to be able to get consecutive stops. You've got to be able to get consecutive good shots, and it can't be so discombobulated. It can't be an issue every third possession on one end or the other. You're going to have issues, and they're going to be issues that you cause yourself. They're going to be issues that the opponent causes, but it can't be every third possession. It needs to be every 11th possession, and that's where we have to improve.
How would you rate the leadership on the team this year? Last year, you had guys like Czar and Kubi who were very strong senior voices and guys who had been through the battles before. Have you had any issues with leadership this year?
No, I just maybe I'm just different. You know, we don't announce who our captains are and some of the things that other coaches do. There was a lot said about Czar last year, and Czar is the best human being I've ever known other than Coach Orr. Was he the leader of our team? Well, he was the best player. Was he the leader? I don't think so. But I think our team did a great job of knowing what was right, knowing what was wrong. And even the same in year number 1, you know, you look at that was kind of a unique combination of kids. When I was hired, there were 4 seniors on the team, and there were 4 empty scholarships, and then there were, you know, 4 guys in the middle. Like, are you going to play? Or are you going to stay? Or are you good enough to play and stay? Or do you want to leave? And then, you know, some of those guys that weren't on campus with Eric and Chris and those guys. But I think the leadership of our team has been good. I think the difference, what I would say, is in year number 1, there was 18 years of Division I experience. In year number 2, there was 12 years of Division I experience at Marquette. And in year number 3, there's 9 years of Division I experience at Marquette. And that's counting Chris and Eric and some of those junior who really haven't been through what they're going through. Are they good people? They're great people. Do they completely understand what's going on? They do. Do they know from past experience what's about to transpire? Not all of them, because they haven't been through it. Does that mean that they're bad leaders? To me, it doesn't. And that's not me sticking up for them. That's just how can you say I'm a great leader? A leader of what? A leader of what's about to happen, or a leader of what did just happen? You know what I mean? They haven't been through it. So, but they're going through it now, and I think they're handling it the best way they can.
How would you rate Chris this year? Shoots right.
I think he's improved more than any player on our team. I don't know if he's ever an all-conference player, but I don't know that I ever thought that this past summer that I would have thought that he would have played 29 minutes in a game, much less a league game. And I think that defensively he is really beginning to understand how he can help protect the basket. He's beginning now to figure out how to stay out of foul trouble. And we need to throw him the ball more often, but he does a really good job of occupying his defender even if we don't throw him the ball. And I've been unbelievably pleased with his growth. It's just somewhat covered up sometimes, particularly over the last 2 weeks when the guys that we are counting on to be our go-to guys have been up and down. I think he's really improved. And I think, you know, as a sophomore, I think he's going to end up being pretty good.
Has his confidence level changed? Because I know you've always talked about him free throw line to free throw line. That was his biggest need of improvement. But has his confidence level changed? Yeah,
he has really changed. Yeah. I think part of it, Brad, is he's just growing up as a person. His path to Marquette was very unique. And what he has learned at Marquette are things that he didn't even know existed in the world prior to Marquette. And so I think that as he's grown up off the floor, he has become more confident in who he is as a human being. And I think because he's continued to work as a player, he's gained confidence from that. So I think it's the combination of who he is as a person and who he is as a player, and it's really helped. And he is he's a lot better from free throw line to free throw line because his body's changed and because he's in the best shape he's ever been in.